It's just devastating, isn't it? Oh my gosh. So, with all the wildfires and the events of the wildfires, I decided today that I would have a conversation with my best buddy, Don Lee from Farmers Insurance, to get an overview of what homeowners should be doing now in order to work through their insurances and how they may be able to rebuild or not rebuild as necessary. I'm going to turn this around. Here we go. Hi, Don. Thank you for being with me today.
Hi, Carol. How are you?
I'm doing well. So we did talk briefly, and if you can come up with about a 5-step what homeowners should be doing in any type of damage to their homes, and this is horrendous because most of the homes that we're looking at are all burned to the ground. So what should these homeowners be doing now between the Palisades fire and the Eaton fire?
At this point, because this is probably, like I told my customers, it's really like page 3 of the first chapter of a long book. So this is the kind of event that's unprecedented, so the insurance companies don't have all the answers. Your agent doesn't have all the answers today, a week into the event. But the first thing you need to do is deal with the additional living expense part of your policy. Most homeowners policies provide some coverage for you to live somewhere else if your house is uninhabitable or if you've had to evacuate. So in those cases, you need to go out and you need to find a place to live. You need to talk to your insurance company to see how much money they're going to give you for that. But that's probably job one, is to get a roof over your head. Once that's done and stabilized, which could take a few weeks, given that there's, you may not be able to live across the street from where you used to live before, or you may be in a hotel and need to transition into a house. But again, most of the carriers are writing immediate checks for you to have money for expenses. And then as the situation evolves, then you may need to move into a temporary house until your house is rebuilt. In the case of these fires, your additional living expense money will last for 2 years. Even if the policy says it only lasts for 1 year, it's automatically extended for 2 years. Mm-hmm. So you'll need to, I tell my customers to kind of take whatever that number is, the additional living expense number on your homeowner's policy, and divide it by 24, just so you get an idea of what your expenses are going to look like per month and you don't overspend. Mm-hmm. Once that's all done, then you start the process of having to look at, what's the process of rebuilding the house and what needs to be done and all of those kinds of things. At this point, we don't exactly know, because the first thing that the cities will need to do is clear all the debris. Your homeowner's policy has coverage for debris removal. It's 5% of the amount of coverage on the building. But the cities may do that for you because it's going to be a health hazard with everything blowing around. So those are really the two things that, get a roof over your head. And then probably the first step of rebuilding is debris removal. And then the next step would be then talking to architects and how do you want to rebuild, and talk to the adjuster and see what those numbers are going to look like. Because there's going to be wild fluctuations in what things are going to cost to replace. And everyone's worried at this point, is there enough general contractors and architects and engineers and all the things you need to do to rebuild a house? So unfortunately, because everybody's pretty freaked out if their house is burned to the ground, patience is what's going to work out. Your policies are going to pay money. They're going to help you do all of the things that need to be done, but you need to be patient, because this can't get done in a week or two. This is going to be months and months and months and months, and maybe years by the time we get everything done. And most of the hangups will not be the carriers writing checks. We'll write the checks, but it's going to be getting providers to be able to rebuild the houses in a timely fashion. And that's probably my number one worry at this point, is how long this is going to take to rebuild, because these neighborhoods will be very different than what they were before. Especially, the Palisades and the Eaton fire area and Altadena and Pasadena and those areas. Those are kind of idyllic, older neighborhoods with interesting architecture and big trees and all those kinds of things. It's not going to be that way now. It's going to look like a new tract of homes. So what's that going to look like architecturally? How much the city's going to be involved in those kinds of things? Those are all things we don't know at this point. The city may require houses to be rebuilt differently than they are now because of fire risk and those kinds of things. So again, this is very much an evolving story. So, to circle back, the number one responsibility is to get a roof over your head, deal with the additional living expense coverage to get temporary housing, and then the rest of it's just going to have to evolve.
So, one of the things I heard is that some of the properties in the Palisades might not be rebuildable.
It's too early to know.
That was a very strange conversation, I thought.
The governor suspended the California Coastal Commission approval process a couple of days ago.
Thank God.
Also suspended the environmental impact rules. They're called CEQA. But all of those things he's suspended so these houses can be rebuilt.
Right.
And not have those impediments. But again, LA City's been known to be not the fastest city in the world to issue permits. So we'll see if the mayor can speed that up, because there's going to be thousands of houses that need to be rebuilt all at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I know a lot of people have temporarily moved in with people in Orange County, have come down here to the South Bay. It's been devastating for all of us as we're trying to decide where to put our help as far as volunteering or actually making donations. So there's a lot out there. The other thing that's come up too, Dawn, is if I still have a mortgage on the house that's now unlivable, I still need to make my mortgage payments. I should be talking to my lender immediately.
According to the LA Times, in an article today, most of the lenders have programs available in situations like this where the payments are suspended or reduced.
Okay.
So you certainly should talk to your lender. I know I've had conversations with my customer. The insurance company's responsibility is to provide you coverage to rebuild your house,
right,
not to pay off your mortgage.
Right.
So we're not involved in that part of the process. If you choose to take the proceeds and pay off your mortgage, that's up to you, but there's no linkage between the insurance and the mortgage, other than when we issue checks to you to rebuild your house, we will also have the mortgagee's name on that check, and they will need to sign off as well, because that's their asset as well. So that's not going to be a problem for anybody, but just understand that you're not going to get a check. If you have a mortgage on your house, when they pay off for the dwelling part of the coverage, the mortgagee's name will be on that check as well. When they're paying off for contents, no. And when they're paying off for other personal expenses, they're not going to do that. But when they deal with the house, the check will be made out to you and your mortgagee.
And the other thing I read is, I know a lot of people who are tenants who do not have tenant insurance.
Renter's insurance.
The renter's insurance. And I know for myself, I have a condo policy in my townhouse to take care of my insides. So if one of these homes was tenant occupied and they didn't have that for whatever reason, they've lost it all. There's no way for them to...
They can make a claim to FEMA. There is some FEMA money available in situations like this. It's not a lot, and a lot of the payments are based upon your income and your ability to pay and things like that. So if you're a renter and your dwelling has burned down and you didn't have renter's insurance, then I would recommend making a claim to FEMA immediately and seeing what your options are there. I don't know that at this point, but I'm sure there's stuff online that can fill you in on it.
Right, and I do understand that most of the libraries have computer access. If you can go to the library, if you don't have a computer, just go to the library and you can get into whatever website you need there.
And FEMA has set up sites in both of the fire areas where you can go there directly and talk to them.
And Farmers has set up sites.
We have 4 sites currently.
do some of the other...
All the other carriers have set up some sort of sites.
Okay. Yeah. So, wow. Well, this is a very interesting, Dawn, and I hope that for the homeowners that lost everything, that this gets resolved to some point. Okay, take it back to me. Oops. Oops. Trying to take it back to me, guys. All right. Hello. Oops. You know, it's the finger point. It's the fingers. It's the fingers, guys. What? All right. It doesn't want to come back to me. There I am. Sorry about that. All right. So, hi, Kelly. Thank you for watching. So, it looks like there are steps in place for every homeowner to pay attention to. And the first step would be to contact your insurance company. If you need any other assistance, Don Lee is here in Torrance. He can be reached at 310-297-2050. He's been in the business for years and years and years and years and years. So he can help direct you, help guide you through the process if necessary. And our heart goes out to every one of you who have been affected by this. So thank you very much. It's a Wild Wednesday. It's an extreme Wild Wednesday. And I will see you guys next week. Bye.